Welcome to China Insider is on the TikTok hearing, or the CEO of TikTok in the exchange with Senator Tom Cotton. And obviously this has gone to be a very viral video. So we're going to talk about what exactly is said by the CEO of TikTok and why it's actually such a lie. Now, if you remember, this was the exchange here. So I'll play it and then we can all listen to what happened here.
Of what nation are you a citizen?
Singapore.
Are you a citizen of any other nation?
No, Senator.
Have you ever applied for Chinese citizenship?
Senator, I served my nation
I'm
in
ask-
Singapore. No, I did not.
Do you have a Singaporean passport?
Yes, and I served my military for two
Do
and
you
a half
ha-
years in
Do you
Singapore.
have any other passports from any other nations?
No, Senator.
Your wife is an American citizen. Your children are American citizens.
That's correct.
Have you ever applied for American citizenship?
No, not yet.
Okay. Have you ever been a member of the Chinese Communist Party?
Senator, I'm Singaporean. No.
Have you ever been associated or affiliated with the Chinese Communist Party?
No, Senator. Again, I'm
Okay.
Singaporean.
Let me ask you some hopefully simple questions. You said earlier.
Okay, so those two questions, super important, right? Now, Tom Cotton, he probably should have skipped all the first questions because now he's basically being painted as a racist for asking about his citizenship. Now, clearly, this is, again, being upplayed in the race card. But you see what the CEO of TikTok is doing, right? He keeps repeating he's Singaporean. He's actually not directly answering the question. Now, the first question is important because he's asking, let me just replay this.
Senator, again, I'm
Okay.
Singaporean.
Let me ask you some hopefully simple questions.
No.
The Communist Party? Have you ever been a member of the Chinese Communist Party?
Okay, so he says he's Singaporean here after being asked that has he ever been a member of the Chinese Communist Party? He says no. Now, this is a very interesting question because you don't have to be a Chinese Communist Party member to be an agent of influence for the Chinese Communist Party, right? So obviously, yes, he has never been a member of the Chinese Communist Party because he's Singaporean. That's fine. But the next question.
Senator, I'm Singaporean. No.
Have you ever been associated or affiliated with the Chinese Communist Party?
No, Senator.
Okay, and then again, he says, no, I've never been affiliated. I'm Singaporean, okay? So when you are the CEO of TikTok, your parent company, ByteDance, has, let me just show you here, has a picture here with the communist flag. Now, I don't actually know if that person here in the circle is him or not, shows the Chu, but I do know that this is a photo from ByteDance's headquarters in China. Now, if your parent company is in China, how can you say that you don't have association? And not only that, Shou Chu, this man right here, he before he was the CEO of TikTok, he worked for Xiaomi, which is a Chinese phone company. Every company in China is required to have a communist office or a communist cell, and they're directly controlled. And in many private enterprises, they're not really private. They're more like semi-state owned in the sense, right? Now, so this whole narrative about not being associated because he's Singaporean doesn't stand because he has worked his resume. Let's just go on his Wikipedia, for example, here. Look at this. So he's long tied himself to Chinese companies. Chu led investments into JD.com, Alibaba, and Xiaomi. He also led a team of early investors in ByteDance in 2013. And then in 2015, he joined Xiaomi as the CFO. 2019 became Xiaomi's foreign business president. He has done pretty much since graduation from American universities, he's gone to China and he's worked for Chinese companies. Now, through, say, let's just go to the dates. From 2015, no, even earlier, the 2013. Let's just go from 2013 to oh, by the way, he used to work for DST Global, which is a Russian investment that is very closely tied to China's market as well. So since 2013, he's done investments in close connection to Chinese companies throughout all this time. Is it really that, oh, he's Singaporean, he's never been in contact with it, and a member of the CCP? Entirely impossible. Now, criticism for Tom Cotton, I think, still stands because the questions he was asking, I think he could have skipped the first part about his citizenship because I don't think that matters. I think the most important question he should have asked is whether or not Shou Chu admit he is an agent of influence for the Chinese Communist Party. Because in the actual hearing later on, he talks about how TikTok's, I think this was Senator Cornyn's question about the data safety for American data in for TikTok. And Shouzi Chu, the CEO, says that the servers are in America, they're owned by an American company, Oracle, so all the data is safe, right? Now, just think about this scenario. If your parent company is in China and the CCP, if you don't abide by 100% of what they want, your company would not be allowed to exist. So are we to believe that their parent company has zero control over TikTok's access of data and where it is being used and how it's being accessed? By the way, there are documented evidence of ByteDance employees being able to access data, TikTok data. So let me just show you this. This is from Forbes. This is back in March of last year. They were already, I believe this was videotapes in which the employees in its parent company, ByteDance, can access US data. So it says here, top lines, controls preventing employees at TikTok and its China-based parent company, ByteDance, from accessing US data might be weaker than both companies had previously suggested, which means that no matter what, they still have access. Because, by the way, the whole argument from the CEO of TikTok is that they're doing something called a Project Texas, which is basically preserving TikTok as if it's isolated from the Chinese control. But because the parent company is back in China, there is always going to be like an opening in which they can have a back-end access that we would never know about, right? Same thing with companies like Huawei. When they were dominating like the telecommunications market in the US and other countries, you cannot simply say that, oh, Huawei in America is isolated somehow from China, right? This is an adversary we're talking about. This is data. Data is so important in today's age. And there's no way for us to believe that what the TikTok CEO is saying is true. All right, so briefly on that. Now, the exchange itself is being focused too much on the race card, and that's very deliberate by the CEO to say that I'm Singaporean. In other words, because I'm Singaporean, I can never have a tie to the CCP, which this is also the part that I think is very interesting, is that they deliberately hired somebody who is not Chinese of citizenship, who is not born in China, who speaks fluent English, and as the CEO of TikTok, because this gives them sort of an image or persona that this is an American company or this is an outside of China company with a CEO that is not from China. So in other words, it creates this facade that the TikTok is isolated, which in my view is not. Also, you think about this, many people are confused with this concept. This happened in the UK as well, right? Both Newton Leung and also now Shouzi Chu, the CEO, refused to admit that what they're saying is, for example, right, we see many people talking about this as a racism issue, how Tom Cotton is focusing on his citizenship. But in reality, what they're doing is when Tom Cotton is asking whether he's been associated with the Chinese Communist Party, people tie that to somehow that's associating it to Chinese or Chinese identity, which is actually the false view, because that's what the CCP wants to do. They want to be the representative of China or be the representative of the Chinese people. So they want the party, the people, and the government, as well as the nation, to be synonymous, right? So when you mention the CCP, oh, people think it's China, but it's actually not. We know that the CCP cannot represent the Chinese people, but they want them to represent it because that's what they want, right? That's their ultimate goal. So everything turns into somehow a racism thing because you mentioned the CCP, which is actually not. So take a look at this, right? This is from the Wall Street Journal 5 days ago. It says that TikTok said it has spent $1.5 billion building an operation intended to convince U.S. lawmakers that the popular video sharing app is safe. This is what they're calling Project Texas. Okay, so 2,000 employees are apparently working on this, but the problem is, look at this. In it, managers sometimes instruct workers to share data with colleagues in other parts of the company and with ByteDance workers without going through official channels. And this is according to current and former employees and internal documents viewed by the Wall Street Journal. The data sometimes include private information such as the user's email, birth date, and IP address. I believe Senator Josh Hawley has also mentioned this article in the hearing as well. And then here it says, meanwhile, ByteDance workers in China update TikTok's algorithm so frequently that Project Texas employees struggle to check every change and fear they won't catch problems if there are any, the people said. So what that tells us is that no matter what goes on in ByteDance, it is always going to override that of TikTok, because guess what? That's the parent company, and that's the company that's subject to the CCP's manipulation and control. Now, another thing about TikTok is the reason why the CCP doesn't want it to leave the United States is because it is an influence operation of hundreds of millions of Americans and others around the world. Because sure, the senior management of TikTok keeps reiterating this fact, or not fact, but in their position, which is that TikTok is allowing freedom of information. But in reality, he has repeatedly denied, for example, the Uyghur situation in Xinjiang, and he has repeatedly denied the fact that there was a massacre at Tiananmen Square in 1989. And so clearly he shows that he is reluctant to offend the CCP. In this regard, anything that Xu Ziqiu says cannot be taken as factual, because clearly he wants to present himself as one where this is a popular app used by 150 million Americans, or how many millions of Americans. It must be loved to everybody, right? But think about it like this. This is the unknown surveillance of 150 million Americans. And that is something that he does not mention. So anyways, I just wanted to clear this up because TikTok is wholly owned by ByteDance, which is a Chinese Communist Party controlled company that does the bidding of the CCP. It can access data of Americans, and we're being lied to. They're using this racism card to cover up for what the reality is, which is that data, which is so important, right? This is private information, health information, their phone data. All of that is being studied and collected by ByteDance, which is in turn used to fuel the CCP's influence operation around the world. Anyways, that's it today for a short episode on this. If you enjoy the content, leave a like, comment below your thoughts, and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, bye-bye.